Heyo there, it's Sven, and in today's video I'm going to be making another Inuit style knife, but I'm going to be making it more like an original. So catch me around and see how that goes. Pop, pop. Alright, so here's the knife I made in the other video. It works pretty well. The blade is in there relatively tightly. And everything about it is, well, you can see it's modeled by the one that I was making it off of, but I didn't yet print out what the original's dimensions are, and there are some key differences, like this area being very big, and the original probably used sinew, not spruce root, though they did use spruce roots, given the shelf size being so thin. The blade is a lot smaller. It may have started larger like this, but at least when it was finished, it's smaller. And the handle geometry is different. I 3D printed this one using a site called, I actually don't know the site name. I added the link or whatever site name in here somewhere. And converted the OBJ to an STL file and then printed it in 2 colors. So I want to make this one now. So we'll get on that. And to do that, I'll be using this piece of slate right here. Also gathered in Wales. It's the right size, just. It even has a little mark there, which will be good for cutting into with a hacksaw. Unlike the other one, I'm going to be going even lazier, and I'm going to be using some power tools. So, you know, it is what it is, but the only sandstone I have in the US is very weak sandstone from Utah, and it tends to break down pretty quickly. So I'll be using it for the final stages, but I'll probably use a belt sander for the beginning stages. So let's get to converting this into something more akin to this. Alright, so first thing, that line is actually in a really good spot. Just take my hacksaw and cut this little bit off. Not easy to do with that high angle. That's a little easier. It's important to note when working with stone, base masks are important. This one's not fully adequate, but it's better than nothing. Because silicosis is no joke. Protect your lungs. Well, there we go. And then from here, I'll be carving it on a grinder a little bit, and then my belt sander. I'm making a pool underneath to make sure that a lot of the dust gets trapped before it goes in the air. I'm also breathing out whenever I grind to make sure I have positive pressure in the mask to keep as much dust away from my lungs as possible. we go. From this point, it's going to be hand grinding. Alright, this stage does not require a mask as long as everything's wet enough. But I'm going to leave mine on anyway. Proper ventilation and good masks are absolutely vital for the other steps though. There's no second guessing that. There's no question about that. You need them. But now, find a good flat spot. This one doesn't have many good flat spots, to be honest, on that side. It might have some here. Yeah. And I'm going to start grinding it down this way. Took off my rings and everything. As you can tell, this sandstone really likes to break apart easily, all things considered. So it's not the best. It's not like the stuff I had in the UK. It was actually really good. Solid sandstone. But it's the sandstone I have, and it is effective. So I might not lie and use this side. That side seems stronger. Even though it's a little pucked, I guess this could be the word. If I do some of this, I'll be able to even it out a bit more. There we go, you can really see the slate coming off now and the color of the ooze. I want to even out this edge a little bit though. The final stage is done, and on sandstone is pretty important in my opinion, because it lets you get a really good finish. The other bit, like using the tool, using the power tool, is fine and dandy. It's not something I really like to do often, but when you have limited time and energy and stuff, yeah. Now would be a good time to tell you about the medical condition. So I have psoriasis, and psoriatic arthritis sometimes comes with that. And I've needed shots to help me through it. But the shots are very expensive here in the US, and getting them has been tricky. Insurance issues and whatnot. So I haven't, at the time I had not had my shots in quite a while, and it was seriously affecting my physical health. I wasn't really able to walk or move or anything. And yeah, just very much not good. Very, very much not good. I think I carved this too big, not gonna lie. Or too high up. Yeah, I did, but that's fine because I can still take it down actually a little bit this ways. So I'm finally getting my shots again, and that's allowing me to move and like live. So I'm pretty happy about that. But it is concerning how easy it is to just suddenly not be able to move, and then have a country, You know, have your country just say like, nah, we don't care. Like, drop all of your life savings in, you know, the span of 2 months if you want to live for another 2 months. And if you don't, well then, sucks to suck, I guess. Because that's basically what I was told. But luckily, I figured it out.
Get your ass in this rock. Go use that bathroom. Go use the bathroom. Use the bathroom.
Get all the swag off.
Right. He could have been like, it's probably so fucked up because you could look at it. No, you're not.
It should help put a point on it. Neighbors with the dog. These divots are good because you can really use them to get the edges going. But I'm going to use this one. It's a lot finer. Won't take off the edge. It's a lot deeper, I should say. That was my Discord or phone notification or whatever, not yours. Could be yours too, though, I guess. You can see we're getting an edge on there slowly. Blades coming together. I can go faster with the edge if I actually create it, which might be a good idea at this point. Little grind there. Little grind there. Little grind here, and you don't want to be there, promise you. Little grind on this side. Little grind on this side. And that should be putting on a decent edge already. Yeah, the tip has the edge, it's the base that doesn't really, so I have to work on that base area a little bit more. Almost there. A little bit more on this side, to be honest. It's about as good of an edge as I want. On that side, this side. Really about that, and then I'm just going to smooth it around. I dare say, I think that might just be a finished blade. Might just find a flat section, do a run like this. Make the scratch marks go up and down because it just looks more, it looks better that way. In my opinion. And there we go. A good blade. And how close is it to the original? A little big, but that's okay. I want it a little bit big. So, that's perfect. The fine work I'll do with the small stone. So here's a sandstone piece that I took back from the UK. The harder sandstone. I'm going to use it to sort of polish up the edge and polish up the entire blade just a little bit. Even out some of these crumbly bits on the edge. Slate polishes very easily, as you can see. Really does not take much. Wash it off quick. There we go. Cool. Next step. Alright, from here, take a chunk of wood. Just about the whole length of this, isn't it? Alright. That's fine. Hacksaw's a little dull, not gonna lie. Honestly, that doesn't even matter at this point. Because now, what I want to do, see about where I can split this. See about here I can maybe. Be generous and give myself a little bit more space. Or it just won't split at all. And that's fine too. That's a little bit too much. Whatever. It'll be fine. That's a twist on me. Oh, I wasn't even filming a lot of that. My bad. Seems that piece had a bit of a twist. Yep. I think I'm about to start using the sander. Not a craftsman if you don't drop it. It's time I put on a new belt, not gonna lie. This one's kind of dead. This one's also kind of dead, but less dead anyway. Yeah, about there. So I'm just going to lay this over. Right about there. Even sides. Goes up to about here. Hot lube. Remove some of the bulk. Same as the other video, or same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Who am I but a talking head? Most of my audience probably get that. But water's just flowing underground. lot of checks. A lot of checks. And then this will be only a very slight edge down right here. So thin that I could probably push it in just with my knife. Like that. And then I go in right around here. And then right around here. Starting from about here, and the same on the other side. Give or take. And this part is kind of fine work, so it's going to want the knife. The other bit that I don't even know is, yeah, I can almost just cut those off, to be honest. At least at the first pass I can. Oh, I wasn't even doing that in camera, my bad. Forgot I'm doing a long video for a second. Here's where I make one last little deep cut. Now try and cut down to that cut like this. Uh-oh. And go a little bit too far. That's okay. That is okay. It'll be fine. Try it again. Go in and go right into that groove. That's better. Okay. There, I put my knife. It's a constant going back and forth game. All of this. Getting things even and a little knot there making things a little difficult. Now the whole thing is just a game of back and forth. And now, that's actually about the right size. These go a little thinner there, but that's fine. Now, carve the socket, which in this case is going to be down to about here. So this should be aha, that's got to be cut a little bit more. Not gonna lie. Who am I kidding? That's probably gonna get cut off in the end anyway. So this is gonna be set in about here. And you want the socket to go into about here. Going about to here. All right, time to grab my saw. Of course, that's not going to fit the blade yet, but that's where carving it in comes into play. Part is going to take way too much time for me to film, but it's going to be a lot of me like getting the saw in a very weird spot like this, and then trying to cut the sides down a bit, and going in with the knife and just carving in like this a little bit. And it's going to be a lot of this sort of fitting work. And I could leave it in, but my GoPro has like 20% battery left. I'm not looking to use up all of the battery life and have to recharge it. I kind of want to get this done today. So it's almost there. Just a mix of trying to fit it, taking the hacksaw at different angles and sort of sawing down little bits like this. And going in with the knife and sort of popping off little bits like this. Watching my fingers, of course. And then sticking it in and seeing if it fits again. So just a lot of that. That's not good. Ow. Well, there's that. Finally got it down, but now I just got to take some of this down a little bit. That's my least favorite part of making handles, is the fitting. I don't know why, but something about the process just is not very fun to me. It can be fun, but I usually just find it tedious more than anything. Pop that off like that. Blend this in to the surroundings a little better. This does now fit all the way to the bottom. And it also does now have, for the most part, when set correctly, a little bit of stone hanging out on either side, which is what you want. So I don't like how that's sitting right there. That looks ugly. Kind of looks ugly. And then this, of course, also needs to go down to that line right there. And this one I am going to be careful on because I really don't want to overshoot my press mark here. So I do need to be careful about that. Oh shoot. Like I did just a little bit there. But a little bit's fine. As long as I can go back in and clip off these bits after again. A little bit of textured surface isn't bad here either. Curve it down a bit. Now these aren't supposed to be very thick when you're going to be using sinew like I am. They're made thick when you're using spruce root, deep I should say, when you're using spruce roots. But if you're just going to be using sinew like I'm going to be, then you don't need to make them too deep. This side definitely wants to go deep all of a sudden. That's fine, I'll just trim it all off like that. Like that. And then of course this end I'm going to bring down just a little bit more flush. So, oh yeah, and I can finish up the carving on the handle. that. Polish it this way. There's a little bit that does not deserve to exist. Same with right there, and right here, and right, oh, that one's an annoying one, eh? So I gotta be careful about. So the end goal was for the knife to basically be to have a hand finish. But perfect. I use some power tools to get me a little closer. This is what it boils down to. All right, time to put on a sinew wrapping. All right, I'm inside. And before I do the lashing, the sinew lashing, I'm gonna do sinew on this one because the original of this is thought to have sinew. I'm going to oil the knife and the handle. I'm actually gonna do it this way to get the inside of everything. Just make sure the inside is good and gotten. Because once I do this and it's all in and everything, I'm not gonna really, once the lashing's on, I'm not gonna really have a chance to oil it. So I'm gonna oil it like this. I may heat it over a stove quickly. I'm not going to show that, but I might heat it over a stove quickly just to sort of let this oil seep in deeply. And then, yeah. All right, so here have we some sinew from a deer. This deer I harvested a couple years ago. I have some unprocessed sinew and some lightly processed, but this is the mildly processed. And what I'm going to do is chew on it, get a big old wad, and just start a chewing. Some people use water. I don't know if it's just an old timers thing, but I always thought that the spit helps with making the glue, the hide glue. So gather your strands. Many as you think you need. Oh, and there's the oil, by the way. I'm gonna chew this for a bit. All right. So now that my sinew has been chewed, I can take off strands. And because of the natural gluing tendency of the natural glues of not artificial, of actual legitimate sinew, I can just wrap it on itself, and that's okay because it will glue itself to the wood and itself, and it will shrink as it binds, or it will shrink as it dries. And that shrinking action will tighten up against the wood, which will also snug this blade down a lot. I sometimes will go in and help it later with a different form of glue or something, like, you know, an actual layer of hide glue or whatever, but I don't tend to prefer hide glue as a main method of binding, just because there's so many options of gluing that are, what's the word, waterproof, and hide glue is not. And that always has me a little iffy on whether or not I want to use hide glue. Granted, well, when I'm using actual sinew like I am right here, what am I doing if not using actual hide glue? It's the natural hide glue that you get from sinew. So I'm going to wrap it. I'd like to make at least a decent layer going up and down, adding these on where I can, keeping them fairly tight. This one can go on now. I'm going to squeeze and wrap, get it all in, get the hide glue distributed well and all the lashings good and tight. Punch down any piece that wants to stick up. And I might add just another layer for safety. There we go. Oh, that's my bad. This last one, I'm going to at least tie off once. Yeah. So, there we go. Gonna just pat everything down. And then this is going to dry, and as it dries, the hide glue is going to bind to itself and everything, and it's going to squeeze down and really clamp this blade into place. That's going to take a while though, so I'll get back to you when it is done, and you'll see. Alright, so you have the 3D print of the original. That sort of shape. And you have my first attempt made on a purple slate. This was just completely by memory. I'd seen the picture of this a very long time ago, and I just decided to make something that I felt looked kind of similar, that I remembered. Quite different. After a little bit of looking more at it, I decided to make this one because it looked quite a bit like the original. Though I just sort of made what seemed right. I didn't know the exact dimensions. But then I printed this, so I know its exact dimensions and everything, and came up with this one, which is the one you just saw me make. I'd say they're relatively similar. There are some differences. I didn't smooth this area, round it out. It's thicker on this basis, on the width, I should say. This doesn't fold over so well, and it's still bigger than this one's. And it doesn't have the the rotting that this one had. This one, I believe, was found in St. Lawrence Island, so it has. No, this one wasn't in St. Lawrence Island. It was on the southwest coast of Alaska, but still, had rotting there and stuff, and the bindings were missing. But anyway, relatively speaking, I would say this is similar enough to be a replica, and I'm quite happy with it. It is relatively sharp. I would have no problems cutting fruit or meat with this. I would have trouble cutting leather, though, which is fine because it's actually one of the benefits of slate knives when you're doing skinning and stuff, is the slate is sharp enough to cut the meat, but generally not sharp enough to cut the leather. So it's really good for scraping off all the ligaments and sinews and tendons and stuff. The blade is held in there pretty dang well, though I'd be lying if I said, like, if I pushed hard, I couldn't, like, break it out. I could break it out if I wanted to. Or, like, if I, like, wiggle it back and forth like this with a lot of power, I'd probably break it. But that might just be down to how I process the sinew and how it dries and stuff. But, I mean, even without adhesives, this holds well enough that, like, I could cut fruit and stuff without worry of the blade coming undone. The biggest thing is the sinew alone. I might want to find a way to protect it from getting wet, because any bit of wet, even I imagine from sweat, and this is going to start to come undone. So I'll have to look into more methods of doing that. I've never really liked using hide glue because of the whole I get wet and I come undone thing. But, you know, making a replica, I don't want to use what they didn't use. So maybe they used fat. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, I will say that's about good. I don't know. I hope the videos can see it, but yeah. Inuit slate knife, based on southwestern Alaskan artifact. Hope y'all enjoyed the long build, mainly because I'm lazy and don't want to edit. But well, maybe it's relaxing or therapeutic to watch. Let me know if you like long builds or if you prefer the edited down ones. But yeah, that will be all from me. Hej då! Ha det så bra! Want?